now. I was talking to a mom just a few weeks ago who, over the summer, their home flooded. Her and her kids have been living in a motel for the past 3 to 4 months. How do you cook for your family when you're living in a motel? We have seen in the past few years an increase in affluent families. So families who have resettled in this area, they were translators for Americans when they were in Afghanistan when the government collapsed. They were relocated here. Even though it's been a few years, they're still finding their way, still using our services. We often hear stories of grandparents who are living on fixed incomes. They have now become the sole guardian of their grandkids. Right now our pantry is set up like a grocery store, but it's also set up following My Plate, which is the dietary guidelines for Americans. So it's the recommendations, how do we eat healthy? And so as the nutrition coordinator, really it matters how we set up our pantry to encourage healthier choices. Families that are accessing a food pantry tend to have poorer health outcomes, or one of the large drivers of needing a food pantry is poor health. And so we want to make sure that we're helping, not just giving out more food that may not aid their health. And so really intentionally, we start in the fruits and vegetables section, and the goal is that a family receives a week's worth of food. Choice fosters dignity. And then we want to empower families to choose what's best for them. So we hear a lot of stories of families who may have kids who are autistic. They love being able to choose their own food. One day we get a delivery from the food bank. We also send truck drivers to grocery stores most days of the week and participate in food recovery. We get a lot of our meat, our frozen meat, that way. And I would say of the products that we give out, frozen meat is by far the most popular. It's the most expensive, right? So we get a lot of frozen meat from grocery stores. We also, because Carlisle is a trucker throughway, Asani is often getting phone calls from truck drivers saying, I have a pallet of raspberries, I have a pallet of salad, can you take it? And then he's good at knowing the right questions to ask to make sure it's good quality and we can use the product. And the other thing we've started doing is we give out personal care items now. This is something that you cannot purchase with SNAP benefits, and it's a need. The number of times families come in and just ask, do you have just a roll of toilet paper? We can really use some toilet paper. So they were here promoting their program. The Employment Skills Center has been here. Career Links has been here. Last week we had an organization that helps provide subsidized childcare here, because if access to childcare is a barrier to getting a job, if we can connect families to resources, that can help. You saw the distribution room, but back here is where we're going to start to see, okay, this is the holding area for the food that goes to our farm stand. And so our farm stand, like I said, it's down the road. It is open to anybody in the community. If you feel you have a need, you can show up. Because, as the United Way talks about with Alice, you may not qualify for SNAP, you may not qualify to receive distribution here, but that does not mean that your family is not struggling, your family does not need a little bit of extra. And so we'll source milk, bread, eggs, fruits and vegetables. Families can go once a week and pick that up. Like I said, we're seeing 430 families go through farm stands every week. Backpack program. So we have a team of volunteers that comes in at 7:45 on Monday mornings and pack up weekend backpacks of food for students in 3 school districts? 2 school districts. And this food really does impact families. So again, another story of families. A single mom working overnight shifts. So she's working when her kids are sleeping, and then she's sleeping during the day. Just having this food gives her peace of mind, so she knows her kids are going to eat breakfast and lunch while she's sleeping, so that then she can get the rest she needs to go to work.
That one needs.
Where we all at when we needed
Kitchen is a staging area for our summer feeding for kids program. So like I mentioned earlier, in the summer months for 10 weeks, every week families can sign up and pick up a week's worth of meals for kids and their family. We have volunteers come in on Wednesday mornings, and this is where we're making like DIY chicken and cheese quesadilla kits and turkey sandwiches and turkey bologna wraps. And so we're doing our best to make the food here, but it's a week's worth labor of love to get those meal kits ready, and then families can pick them up once a week. So like I said, we served 570 kids this past summer every week. About 70% of those families are ALICE. So again, this is a program that is open to anybody in the community who feels they have a need. And one of the themes that I was really noticing this summer is families that are using that program often have kids who are medically fragile. So the number of families who are driving every month to Philadelphia to take their kids to CHOP for specialized medical care, that just was a recurring story. And so many benefits programs, it just looks at your income. It doesn't look at your expenses. And so that was one thing that we were seeing through that program. And one of my just like favorite moments of the summer was at the end of the summer, a mom came up to me. She was the one who started volunteering too. And she just said, she was like, "You did not just give me food this summer, but you gave us hope." Right? And that's just, it's so powerful. The families who receive services here can feel the kindness of the community, and going through really hard times, they're feeling that kindness, they're feeling that hope. The need that they were experiencing in that class was students were showing up hungry. That's a pretty intense program. And so they do like this training before, and then they transition the students over to HACK to finish the training. It is a lot of work. And so they were noticing that students were showing up hungry. Food insecurity was a barrier. So we partnered with them. So in the first few weeks of their training, every student who wants to will get a free meal kit that has all the ingredients they need to make 3 meals. And then we also, this past year, started partnering with Cumberland County Reentry. So a number of, if an individual is arrested, they sometimes have a choice: go to county jail or join a support group. They were finding in the support group a huge need was food. And so we launched a partnership with them just this past fall, and we're providing these share boxes to individuals in that support group.